Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Austin Tech Connect. This is the official podcast of the Austin Technology Council. My name is Thom Singer, and I've been with ATC now for about 2.5 years, and we are really excited because we are coming up on the second annual Austin Tech Hall of Fame. And I wanted to dedicate today's episode to talking about the Austin Tech Hall of Fame, why we started it, how we did it last year, what we're doing this year, and what we're going to do on into the future. There's a lot of people who have a lot of questions, and there's a lot of people with a lot of opinions and ideas, and I just wanted to share sort of the idea behind it and encourage everybody to make sure they get their nominations in, but also to be planning to show up in May for the second annual Austin Tech Hall of Fame celebration. So that's what we're going to talk about on today's podcast. It's going to be much shorter than our usual episodes, but I want to get everybody really excited about this program. Because this is not an ATC event. This is an event for the Austin technology ecosystem. The Austin Tech Hall of Fame probably should have been started 20 years ago because so many people over the last 50 years have done things that have laid the foundation to be able to create this amazing city where we live and work today. Now, the Austin Technology Council actually did begin the Austin Tech Hall of Fame one time in 2013, and they inducted one person. It was Bill Wood from Silverton Ventures. And then there was a turnover at the top and nobody ever did the Hall of Fame again. So we wanted to make sure that we included Bill in the legacy of people who are inducted into the Hall of Fame. But last year we decided to go farther and launch an entire program. And in fact, what we did is we created an 8-year launch of the Austin Tech Hall of Fame. Now I get a lot of questions. They go, Tom, why an 8-year launch? I don't understand. Well, the reason is that there are 60 plus people who contributed to laying that foundation and helping spark the growth that made Austin amazing. And so we want to be able to celebrate the people who did that. But to drop 60 or 65 names into a Hall of Fame on one day, yeah, that might be exciting, but poof, the thrill is over. So I decided that we would induct 8 people a year over the next 8 years to make sure that we were populating that past. Because if we forget our past, if we forget the people who worked hard to create what we live in today and how they did it and why they did it, then we're going to lose something really important. It's really hard to move forward and grow and keep going if you're reinventing the wheel every 5 years, every 10 years, and you totally dismiss everyone who came before you. It's very important for this community that we know how and why Austin became what it is today. And so the Hall of Fame is one piece of that. So we want to celebrate the past. However, you can't live in the past. I want to make sure that we are absolutely present in the now. And so that every year we're going to add one person into the Hall of Fame for that year. Last year, we had the 2024 inductee, and that was Joyce Durst from Growth Acceleration Partners, and she was honored as the 2024 inductee. This year, we'll have a 2025 inductee that will be announced at the reception that will happen in May. And then we also give a First-Time Founder Award. Now, officially, the First-Time Founder Award is not part of the Hall of Fame, but it is adjacent to it. Because here's the thing. Yeah, you want to celebrate the past, and you have to be present in the now, but you also have to be looking to the future. And this is what the Austin Technology Council is all about. Our charge, our goal is to help engage our community and to get people really involved and making sure that we're set up so that we can continue to grow and that we're bringing everybody together so that we have one tech community and that we don't get bifurcated by cliques and sectors. We need to make sure that Austin remains Austin, even as it goes through the amazing changes that we've experienced over the last few years and the even bigger changes that are coming into the future. So that's why it's an 8-year launch. Now, because it's an 8-year launch, that means not everybody who you think should be in the Hall of Fame is going to be put in year 1 or year 2 or year 3. And I get some phone calls where people say, if you don't manipulate it and put so-and-so in, they're going to be offended. I actually don't believe that the real leaders in Austin who built this community, I don't believe they're made of glass. I think they're able to understand that there are lots of people who contributed and it's going to happen year over year. Plus, the other thing is I'm not manipulating anything. I'm not making the decisions. We open up nominations to the entire community. You don't have to be part of the Austin Technology Council, nor does the person who you're nominating to nominate somebody. And here's the thing. If somebody's not nominated, they're not going to be considered by the committee. Now, last year, I got some calls after it was over, and they're like, how could you have done the Hall of Fame without including this person or that person? And it was because they weren't nominated. Now, that being said, in 2024, we had an amazing group of 8 people that represented those legacy/foundational inductees. They were made up of people who weren't just rich, exited people who founded companies, but a cross-section of people who really did contribute over the years to the ecosystem to help make Austin fabulous. And the people who were inducted last year were Dr. George Kosmetsky, Michael Dell, Laura Kilcreast, Dr. James Truchard, Jimmy Tribig, John Butler, Admiral Bobby Inman, and Lori Hawkins. You know, when you think about it, if you were going to say, well, so-and-so should have been put in, my question back was, who should we have taken out? Because all of these people did something that impacted the fabric that is the Austin Tech ecosystem. So I told people who complained, next year, make sure you nominate those people and the committee will consider them. Now, again, it doesn't mean that if they don't get in last year or this year, that they're not going to be honored in the Hall of Fame, because we're taking 8 years to build that foundational piece. And I believe that in Austin, we're not petty, we're not cliquey, we're not a town who's going to go, boo-hoo, I wasn't put in year 1, 2, or 3, so I'm not going to go to this. I'm not going to support it. I think Austin's better than that, and I believe that the people who belong in the Hall of Fame understand that the Hall of Fame is there to honor everybody, not just 1 or 2 people's egos. So that's what we're doing with that. Now, the First Time Founder Award last year went to Ashley Rose from Living Security. The idea behind this award is we honor a first-time founder. This is someone who is leading a company that they founded here in Austin, and the company is at least 3 years old, and they're kicking butt with the company. Now, in this case, Ashley fits all of those things, and she was honored for that. And this year, we're going to find somebody just as awesome who's doing really cool things with their company, and it's the first time they've made the attempt at starting a tech startup. So we're still gathering, at the time this is released, we're still gathering nominations. Now, many of you won't listen to this in the first 3 days. Nominations will close. It's been extended, but it will close on Monday, March 24th, at which time I will turn over all of the nominations for the 3 categories, the Foundational Legacy inductees, the 2025 inductee, and the First Time Founder Award, over to a committee. Now, last year in 2024, it was our first year, and the Austin Technology Council Board of Directors was that committee. However, I never intended this just to be an ATC thing. This is a community event. This is a community program. So this year, we have 4 outside committee members who are not part of ATC. In fact, I think only one of them is even a member, and 3 of our board members. So there's 7 people who will be deciding, and they will work together to collaborate who has been nominated and then who will be chosen from that group to win the awards this year. We will announce the 8 foundational legacy inductees probably around March the 1st, March the 5th, somewhere around there. We'll make an announcement as to who those 8 are at the time we open up ticket sales. However, the 2025 inductee and the First Time Founder Award will not be announced until the night of the reception. So we're still working out all the details for the reception. Tickets will go on sale around April 5th, but I want you to remember that last year we sold the reception out, over 200 people. We sold it out in 8 days. This turned out to be an amazing event, and there were a lot of people who were upset that they couldn't get tickets. But we published the tickets, we did podcasts about it, we did LinkedIn posts about it, and then we opened it up. So make sure, if this is something you're interested in participating in, that you're paying attention to the Austin Technology Council website and our LinkedIn page, because and that you're subscribed to our newsletter, because that's where all the information is going to be posted about the 2025 Austin Tech Hall of Fame and First Time Founder Awards celebration. So that's the idea behind the Austin Tech Hall of Fame. Yes, there's a lot of different ways we could have done this, but what I did when I was putting it together is I went and looked at other associations and other industries who have Hall of Fames. One of the things people keep coming to me about is, oh, you should give the award to certain companies that did things. Well, we decided for now that the Hall of Fame is going to be an individual award, which means if 2 people founded a company and one of them is put into the Hall of Fame, That's based on that person and not just the founding of the company, but the other work that they did giving back to the tech ecosystem. And it doesn't mean that the co-founder can't be put in at a later time if they are Hall of Fame worthy. So these are things we need to think about because yes, there's a lot of ways we could have built this Hall of Fame. However, I worked with my board to come up with a way that worked for now. Let's face it, I'm not going to run the Austin Technology Council forever. At some point, somebody else will come in, we'll have new board members, and we may shift the process. However, the one thing I hope we won't do is shift that process until we've got those 60, 65 legacy people all honored in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is a living program. It should go on forever. One of my goals is that in future years, maybe we'll have a class of people. We'll induct 2 or 3 or 4 people each year into the Hall of Fame because Austin's going to continue to grow. And there's going to continue to be people who show up and support the community. This is one of the things I believe Austin must do. We must start celebrating the people who show up and give back, not just the people who have fame, because that's the way Austin was built. And when you look at other ecosystems that really thrive and are inclusive, where people can find seats at the table, it's because leaders lead from the middle of the community, not from the sidelines. And that's why this Hall of Fame is really important, because I think once we get about 4 or 5 years into it, it's going to start to have some oomph. I realize a Hall of Fame with 10 people in it right now is kind of small when we know there's got to be 60 plus people who are in it. But this year we'll add 9 more. And then we'll add 9 more. Plus, we'll have the first-time founders as well. So it just keeps growing. I've created a page on the Austin Technology Council website at austintechhalloffame.com where you can see the list of everybody who's in. And we're about to release a fancier page where we're going to have their picture and a little description of everybody, and we'll be able to keep adding. The other dream that I have is that City Hall or maybe the JW Marriott or someone in town will give us a wall where we can create the Austin Tech Hall of Fame once we have about 40 people in it. Again, calling it the Austin Tech Hall of Fame and having a public wall somewhere important in the city that has 9 names on it, I don't know that it goes so far, that it really serves our purpose. Now, all of this being said, I am open to all your ideas. I'm open to your criticism. Trust me, I'm getting the calls from people saying you should be doing it this way, or why wasn't I consulted? Let me tell you, we're doing our best with this, but the idea behind the Hall of Fame should excite every single one of you. Nobody should be rolling their eyes. Nobody should be upset that they weren't put in on year 1. Everybody should be thrilled that we are building a foundation that will forever celebrate Austin. And my other goal is that the celebration that last year started as a cocktail party for 200 people will probably be about the same this year. My goal is in year 4 and 5, maybe we grow this into a bigger event where more people in the community can come and more people can support what we're doing. However, putting the cart before the horse isn't the way to do this. We need to start this as a grassroots event. And the people who come have a great time. They tell other people. Next year it gets a little bigger. So that's my story about the Austin Tech Hall of Fame. This has nothing to do with me. Let's face it, I'm not going to run ATC forever, and nobody's going to stick me in the Austin Tech Hall of Fame. This is about honoring the past, the present, and the future of a tech ecosystem that is envied around the world. And I think it's important that everyone in our tech ecosystem, whether they moved to Austin 10 minutes ago or they've lived here 40 years, I think it's important that everybody can share and understand the history that brought us to here. Because if we don't have that thread that runs through everything, we end up with a lot of fiefdoms and a lot of clicks, and that's not going to bode well as we get into a world that's going to be more competitive. So thanks for listening to this podcast. It's a little shorter than our normal ones. I certainly hope that you have nominated people for the Austin Tech Hall of Fame 2025, and I hope that you're going to get a ticket and show up to celebrate the people who helped make Austin great and the people who are really contributing today. Thanks so much, and the Austin Technology Council needs your support. We're trying to reinvent what we're doing. We're looking forward. We're trying to be an organization that if we started it today, it would look different than if we started it 33 years ago. And it's time to grow and change. But it can't be the show that I create. This has to be grassroots driven. And that's why every single one of you who is listening to this podcast, I hope that you'll find your way to support us, whether it's financially, whether it's becoming a member, whether it's sponsoring an event, whether it's showing up at an event, or whether it's being an evangelist, saying, you know what? let's all find a way to make this better and telling other people. Because if you tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and they tell 2 friends and so on and so on and so on, we're going to be able to make that thread that reaches through and supports and connects everybody in this tapestry that we call the Austin tech ecosystem. Because here's the thing. Sometime, for some reason, we're going to need to tug on that thread and bring everybody together. And if we haven't built a community that really cares about each other, where everybody, no matter what sector they're in, sees themselves as part of the Austin tech community, then we're going to be at a disadvantage. So that's my hope. That's my dream. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you next week back here on Austin Tech Connect.